So here we are at UCLA on March 10th, 2015. The sunshine is shining. It's 70 degrees out. Beautiful day. You can hear the children playing outside, just having a ball. And we're about to hear Miriam do an impromptu speech on the following topic. There is so much good in the worst of us, and so much bad in the best of us, that it behooves all of us not to talk about the rest of us. Robert Louis Stevenson.
Hi everyone, my name is Miriam.
Hi Miriam.
How many of us in this room think we're the best driver? We throw road rage when someone cuts in front of us or even honks at us. We get upset and we honk at the person in front of us when they're too slow for us. None of us in this world are perfect. Like, even if you think you're the best driver, sorry to break your bubble, but that is just an illusion. Well, I agree with Robert Stevenson's quote that there's so much best of us and the worst of us, and so much bad in the best of us that the evil who so as not to talk about the rest of us. And I'll show you 3 examples: Miley Cyrus, Bill Clinton, and my friend Shalane, who show that this quote is true in real life. Why is this quote significant to you? It is significant because we tend to hide our own faults so that we could judge others. Well, my first example, that there's so much good in the worst of us and so much bad in the best of us that it behooves us not to talk about the rest of us, is Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus was Disney darling. You know, she was loved by our parents and by kids as well. Our Hannah Montana, who sang Best of Both Worlds and Nobody's Perfect, she all of a sudden changed in 2011 when she came up with her song Can't Be Tamed. And she went downhill from there. And in 2013 at the MTV Music Awards, she twerked on Robin Thicke. And later on in her music video, Wrecking Ball, she danced naked on a ball and also licks a hammer. And ever since, you know, she has been judged for her provocative behavior. But even though she's no longer the Disney darling that we saw her as, you know, we never even expected that this Disney darling, this innocent girl, has so much bad in her. But despite her bad image and her provocative behaviors, she still has some good in her. She is one of the most charitable celebrities, and she donated $300,000 to the AIDS Foundation, according to Paris Hilton. And just last year, 2014, who could forget Jesse Helt, a 22-year-old homeless man whom she allowed to accept her Video Music Awards. Right after that show, she was able to raise $200,000 for the organization My Friend's Place. This shows you that despite her bad image, there's still so much good in her, and we're in no position to judge her. My second example, that there's so much good in the best of us and so much worse there's so much good in the worst of us and so much bad in the best of us that the ill behooves us not to talk about the rest of us, is Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is the 42nd president of the United States. And, you know, during his time, he's one of the most loved presidents because he improved domestic life. During his presidency, the United States had the longest economic growth. The United States also experienced the lowest crime rates. And during his time, there were 2.22 million jobs that were created during his presidency. Bill Clinton was most loved by everyone, and he was the family man that most people looked up to. But despite his image as the perfect family man, it was discovered that he had some extramarital affair with Monica Lewinsky, a White House intern. This shows you that even the person whom we looked up to as a family man, a good president, a good man, he still had some bad in him, and he engaged in this extramarital affair. My last example, that there's so much good in the worst of us, so much bad in the best of us, so much bad in the best of us that it behooves us not to talk about the rest of us. It's my friend Shalane. Growing up, Shalane was the typical bad girl, in middle school. She was one of the leader of the popular girls group in my school. She walked out on teachers in class. She would talk back to teachers. She would yell back at teachers. She would choose not to do work and yell back when anyone confronted her about it. She was the typical bad girl that we know, like the typical bad girl in middle school. But despite her image, when I got to know her, I realized that she is the kindest person ever. She looks out for her family and friends, and that's why she is one of the most loved girls among her peers. I have shown you three examples why I agree with Stevenson that there's so much worse in the good of us and so much good in the worst of us that it behooves us not to talk about the rest of us. It's Miley Cyrus, Bill Clinton, and my friend Shalane. There should be no argument or doubt in this room that Stevenson is valid and true in his quote. And we're in no position to judge others, because even though we may think we're the best drivers, I am pretty sure you have driven over the speed limit. I am pretty sure you have, even though you haven't gotten any tickets ever in your driving history, you have probably passed a red light. You have probably passed the red light. You have probably been impatient in waiting for the pedestrian to walk all the way through the other side of the road before you make that left turn. So when we judge Bill Clinton, my friend Shalane, or Miley Cyrus, we should realize that we are not immune to the same actions that they did, because we're not perfect, and we could also make that same decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. What did you like?
What did I like?
Stand up, say your name.
Hi, I'm Kim.
Hi, Kim.
I like that you used relatable examples to the class, and everybody knows who Miley Cyrus is, obviously, and everybody knows about the Bill Clinton scandal. So I felt like you chose something that was easy. It was tangible. It was comforting.
Improvement.
Hi, I'm Anna. I think
Hi, Anna.
I also really liked your examples. The only part I thought you could improve on was the driving thing. I like how you used it again at the end and tied up with it, but if it had been a little more concise, I think it would have proven the point a little bit better. Besides that, I thought it was very poignant or speech.
Yeah. Okay, Miriam. Let me start with the positive. Your quote was a mouthful and kind of a tricky one, and yet you memorized it and you knew it and you said it numerous times, so we knew exactly what the quote was, and you said it and you did it well. So congratulations on that. You probably don't know this, but this author goes by Robert Louis Stevenson. He's a well-known writer. So you probably want to include his middle name when you refer to him. You kept saying Stevenson and so forth. You started with the road rage and mentioning that you, and I, and all of us have had problems when someone's cut us off and we've been angry and no one's perfect, and you tied back to that. And I agree with Anna, that that could have been done a little more eloquently, and it could have been done in a little more clever manner to tie it home. But you did get the tie back in, and that was good. Your thesis preview was good, but it could have been a little stronger in terms of a stronger narrative voice. I'm going to give you 3 examples of why I think that Robert Louis Stevenson is absolutely correct. Miley Cyrus, is that her name? Miley?
Yeah.
It's like saying, what's that other girl that's on TV? What's her name with the dark hair? She has sisters. Kardashian. I hate, 2 names I hate to say. President Bill Clinton and my friend Charisse, or whatever it was. Okay, so you went over those real fast. So slow down and make those crisp and clear. Your 6th statement was pretty good. It could have been elaborated on. What was her time?
7:06.
7:06. So you did this in the perfect amount of time. I think that your first example of Miley Cyrus was a good one. You called her the Disney Deb or something, and that was good to talk about her transformation, how she shocked everyone with the ball and chain or whatever it was, and the dancing lewdly and so forth. And she was really breaking out from her old image, wasn't she? And so we saw that even though no one ever thought she had that in her, she had that in her. So that presented one side of the perspective of the quote, and so that was good. On your second example, you had good statistics and facts about President Clinton, about the number of jobs that were created and how the economy grew and, all the good things that he did. And then, of course, you had to mention Monica Lewinsky, the intern in the blue dress and all that stuff. And, the fact that was, I was somebody that voted for Bill Clinton, and it didn't surprise me that he did this, because I think every man or woman is capable of cheating. It's my belief of human nature. But I thought it was very reckless, and I thought it was very sad that he would do this to his supporters, because he had so much he could have accomplished, but he threw it away on a blowjob. A blowjob, right? A blowjob from an intern. And how reckless can you get, right?
He should have just hired someone.
He should have hired someone, right? He may have, but anyway, your example was well taken and well argued, and it was to the point, and it did illustrate your thesis. And you did repeat the quote, which I've been after everyone to do, and you did that nicely. Your third example, I didn't quite get her name. Was it Shireen or something like it? Shalene.
Yeah.
Whatever. That was a little brief, but I see you were running out of time. But you made your case for Shalene and not, and the final part of the quote about we all should just shut up because we've all sinned and come short of the glory of God, to quote biblical scripture, right? And no one's perfect except Jesus, I guess. So, no one can talk, or as Jesus said, when they're stoning the prostitute, let the man without fault cast the first stone. And I think that was kind of your thesis and what you're trying to get at, wasn't it? You summarized well with your 3 examples. You concluded that Robert Louis Stevenson was right, and you tied back to your road rage. What was unexpected in your speech that you put in to make it sticky?
I'll say Bill Clinton, because
Bill
most
Clinton.
people don't want to talk about that anymore.
Okay, so that's off the radar now, so you thought that would, no pun intended, that would be sticky. Okay, good. That was sticky, yeah. Okay, and what about the emotion in here? We always want to have emotion in our speech. So, How were you thinking of working emotion into this speech?
I was trying to like, when I talked about the homeless guy, I wanted to like make it more elaborate, but I feel like I rushed through it because I forgot what was next.
Yeah, I think you did too, but I think that you could, I think maybe on the third one on your friend, you could have said, I felt so personally ashamed because I was judging her a little and I felt sad that I was doing that. Bring your own emotion into it, see? Otherwise, you did a very nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Clap, clap, clap. Okay. So, who just finished? That was Miriam. And Miriam, you turned in everything else, right?
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Miriam. Have a good life. Go change.
Are you going to send us the email about the other debate? Because I remember you were telling me and Rana that it was like, I guess it's for next quarter.
Yeah, it's actually, it's before next quarter starts, but there's two more. One next weekend and the weekend after.
Which one did you want us to go to?
Both actually, but
okay, can you send me an email then?
Yeah.
And then you said that would count, right? Even though it's like after the class or whatever.
Yeah. But you have to swear on your mother's life you'll go.
Okay, so
actually, you want to go to San Luis Obispo?
That's the one that you told us to go to.
That's this. The reason I say that is I'm a little tight on rooms at the hotel, but I think I have room for one girl, so you could still do it.
And is that this weekend?
No, it's next weekend.
So like right before spring break. Okay,
right before spring break, and then the next weekend is.
Would you need me to drive there, or would you?
No,
okay.
no, we can get you a ride.
Okay.
You don't have a car, right?
Well, I'm going home like after.
Where's home?
Lancaster.
Lancaster?
Yeah, have you heard of it? No? It's like Palmdale, Lancaster.
Yeah, right. It's the desert, right?
It is the desert.
Yeah.
It's the high desert.
Yeah, I'll pass. Okay, wait a minute. Let me... Miriam. Okay, where's Miriam? Miriam, there she is. Okay. Okay, let me find you on here.
My name's written in light blue. I think it might be.
Yeah, turquoise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's, we're here at UCLA on a sunny day on March 10th to hear Kimberly do her impromptu topic. She's going to do impromptu topic number 3. The pain of disappointment, of a disappointed wish, necessarily produces less effect upon the mind if a man has not certainly promised himself success.
Hi, I'm Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly.
So today, I will talk about the quote from, the quote that says, "The pain of a disappointed wish does not necessarily affect a man if he has not promised himself success." So to start that off, I will talk about when my cousin came back from Marine boot camp. We all surrounded him, my brothers, his brother, and we decided to go hiking. So when we decided to go hiking, we were all bombarding him with questions. We asked him, how was it? how did you deal without being with women so long? How did you go to the restroom? And one of the questions that I decided to ask him was, what was the most important thing that you've learned? And he told me, complacency kills. So, going off of that, he said, complacency kills because it does not allow you to keep growing. He said that every day they would stress that. So today I will talk about 3 things. I will talk about 3 things. I will first explain the quote, then I will talk about Malala, and lastly, I will talk about David and Goliath. So first off, to explain the quote, he is trying to say that if we do not reach our full potential, or if we do not strive for our full potential, there is not necessarily a reason to be disappointed in ourselves. So, if we just go out there and do something half-assed, we will never strive for our best. And this will cause us to be stuck where we are at. Secondly, I will talk about the young Pakistani girl, Malala, who is not only the youngest Nobel Prize winner in the history of the world, but also a 16-year-old girl who advocated for female education in Pakistan. And for this reason, she was shot by the Taliban. She was shot 3 times for going on a bus and attempting to go to school to educate herself. When she got on the bus, the terrorist member asked her, "Where are you going? What is your name?" And when she responded that she was going to school, he shot her 3 times. One of the bullets grazed her head and went into her shoulder. After that, she went to the hospital and was in critical condition. However, she did pull through and was able to recover. Since then, she has actually advocated to the United Nations that there should be more advocacy for female education. She was quoted on The Daily Show saying, "Women are empowered by education. This is why terrorists do not want women to get educated, because they are scared that they will become more powerful." Malala is a young woman that has shown that she strives for more, that she strives to fight the norm. And with this, she has created great change. Lastly, I will talk about the biblical story, David and Goliath. David and Goliath is about a 9-foot-tall giant who, for 40 days, dressed in armor, would fight the Israelites. He would challenge the Israelites to come and beat him. One day, the father sent David to go to the battlefield to find out information about his brother. Once David got there, he realized that the giant would always challenge them. And therefore, he went to go persuade the king to let him battle the giant. A 16-year-old boy asking to fight a creature that everybody has lost to. David went to the battlefield and said, "I have the power of God with me." He then threw a rock at the giant's neck, which went through his forehead, causing the giant to fall. After that, he grabbed the giant's sword and cut his head off. This is something that was unexpected. Nobody expected a 16-year-old boy to have that sort of expectation for himself. To be able to do something that great, something that for 40 days nobody else was able to do but a 16-year-old boy. This is how he later became king. So today, I have discussed what the quote means. I have discussed the perseverance and the struggles of Malala, the Pakistani girl who advocated for education, and the underdog story of David, from David and Goliath. Now from this, we can see that if we do not set our goals high, there is no reason to be upset. We will not grow. We will stay stagnant where we are. Now going back to my cousin's story. If we do not allow ourselves to expect the unexpected and settle with where we are at, then we have the possibility of getting killed. Maybe not literally as they would in the Marine Corps, but through life and through the situations that we have been put through if we do not allow ourselves to adjust. Thank you.
Thank you. 6:59. Thank you. Stay up there for your critique. What did you like? Stand up, say your name.
Hi, I'm Anna.
Hi, Anna.
I really liked the David and Goliath example. I thought you delivered that very powerfully and very succinct, and you really painted an image. I think the only critique that I have would be that the explanation of the quote should have probably switched places, in my opinion, with the story about your cousin, or cousin, I think.
Yeah,
right?
cousin, sorry.
Because that to me was just it was an example, it was a very powerful example, but it would have gone in the body, in my opinion, but I really liked how the points developed your thesis.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, Kimberly. What's your last name?
Garcia.
Garcia. Okay. Yeah. Excuse me. I had sort of a similar reaction that Anna did to your intro. I thought you were immediately launching into the main body with your brother's story, and I thought this was going to be your first example. And I thought, wow, that's quick. But then you just turned it into an example and you tied back to it. So it was okay. But I would have liked to have had you spent a little more time on your explanation of what this quote really means and paraphrase it and say it again in your own words. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, or something that you can say it and repeat it, and it can be repeated easily in the main body of your speech. And that's where I felt you fell down the most. Okay, so your first point you made was to explain the quote, right? And that wasn't really an example, but that should have come up ahead of in your thesis about what the quote means, and then say whether I agree or disagree with it or not, and I'm going to give 3 examples of it. I take it you agree with the quote,
yes,
right? And you think that, if people don't set high expectations, they're never going to achieve anything. But what the author was really talking about was also that you also won't be disappointed by having low expectations.
Yeah.
You work in the post office, you know where your paycheck's coming from, you show up every day, you put letters in a slot, and life is beautiful. Sort of. Right?
I meant to include it, but it's just, when I was up here,
So, on your Malala, is that her name? Malala?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I like hearing about her, don't know exactly how well you tied it into having expectations, high, low, not having any at all. The Taliban killed her, assassinated her, tried to assassinate her. She became very determined. She was fighting. She had high expectations, and so she was a target of the Taliban. I didn't see how you naturally came back to your quote after the story. So it was a good story, but I didn't see how it related to the quote. On your third example, David and Goliath, again, I love the imagery of it. I love the way you told the story of the stone and the rock and the sword and all that. But then link this for me. David, had higher expectations after he came back from his father, and then he exceeded his expectations. I'm fuzzy.
He was supposed to go check up on his brother, but he saw that everybody else was like losing to Goliath.
Yeah.
So he, thinking that he could actually beat him, he went to persuade and he kind of like begged the king to let him fight Goliath. So all these like brave warriors and men had lost, and then the supposedly he's like 16. The 16-year-old boy, he goes and he beats this giant that everybody's been trying to beat for like a long time.
Right, he saw the one vulnerability in the giant suit of armor. Mm-hmm. He knew that a small rock would penetrate that and knock the giant out and so forth. But take my point, you see, my point about not linking back to that, and that's why I didn't see how the argument, it was a good argument, but I didn't see how you linked it back.
I didn't finish it,
Yeah. And then your summary was good, and your conclusion was good, and your tie back to your cousin or your brother, and I was looking for that word complacency, because you use that big word a lot with your cousin about complacency can kill you, and so I was looking for that as part of the tie back too, but I didn't get it. But overall, you got the idea, and you didn't use notes, and I could tell you had really worked on this, but work on having that middle part be more linked to the quotation, and have another phrase for your quotation that's you can mouth easily and say it. Otherwise, you did a good job. Thank you.
Did you want to put it on my laptop?
Yeah. You mind taking a moment?
I'm sorry?
Mind taking a moment while we do this? Okay. Okay, wait a minute. No, let's. Can you wait a moment for her speech, and then
I'll time you.
and then I'll put the whole thing on your laptop. That's easier.
So I chose the second set of prelim 1, question 4. Second set of prelim 1, question 4. So speaker
Question 4.
Speaker 4. Sorry, I meant. It's 3.
You're Emma?
Today I am.
Okay, so now you want me to pick one of the 3. Okay, good.
Unless I can. I'm happy with that too.
Did I just hear my pen drop? Yes, I did. Okay, so this is also Anna, as well as Emma. Okay. Stupid. Spell your last name for me.
SLON like Nancy, I M like Mike, SKY.
Oops, sorry. How do you want to be timed? Do you want the last 5 minutes or the whole 7?
The last 4.
Oh, the last 1.
You're talking about the right? Cool.
Yeah.
Would you mind throwing this away out in the trash can before the chairman sees me eating in here? Thanks. Thank you. Okay, so well, I'd like to hear topic number 1.
All right.
When we remember we are all mad, the mysteries disappear, and life stands explained. By Mark Twain.
Hi, I'm Anna.
Hi, Anna.
Every person is shaped by unique experiences throughout their lives that make them who they are. Our opinions, personalities, and sense of right and wrong are formed through them. Factors such as a person's geographic location and socioeconomic status impact their experiences, causing them to have certain beliefs later on in life. A right-wing Republican politician would have grown up in a different circumstance than the left-wing political activist. They both think that they are right in their actions and opinions, and it is this belief that our views are inherently the correct ones that most major conflicts arise out of. On this note, Mark Twain once said, "When we remember we are all mad, the mysteries disappear and life stands explained." I believe what he meant is that we need to embrace each other's individuality and understand that they see themselves just as right as we see ourselves, and if we do this, the world will be a much happier and more successful place. We will get much more out of every aspect of love, culture, politics, business, and religion. This is evident in the work and creations of the artist Vincent van Gogh, The Tale of the Emperor's New Clothes, and my own personal high school experience at the Orange County High School of the Arts. Vincent van Gogh was a post-impressionist painter of the late 1800s that I believe we are all aware of. No one can deny the ethereal beauty of his most famous work, Starry Night. However, I'm sure most of us have heard of his antics as well, especially the one concerning the ear. According to his namesake foundation, the Vincent van Gogh Gallery, he suffered from temporal lobe epilepsy, bipolar disorder, Sichuan poisoning from using absinthe to treat his bipolar disorder, lead poisoning from his paints, because back then they used different makeup, hypergraphia, which caused him to write obsessively, as well as a near constant case of sunstroke because he was often outside for extended periods of time in order to paint his masterpieces and landscapes. It is believed that digitalis was used to treat his epilepsy, which causes the patient to see yellow. This is thought to explain Van Gogh's penchant for the color. If it were not for the digitalis, maybe he would never have painted the great, bright, beautiful stars that make up Starry Night. It is through his madness that we get to be exposed to the beauty that he saw as well. Without his own personal take, without his maddening delusions creating his opinion, we would have never been exposed to his art. Another example is The Tale of the Emperor's New Clothes by Hans Christian Andersen. In the famous story, there is an emperor who is pompous and loves himself more than his people. He will do anything for himself, including buying the most extravagant clothing. Two tricksters come by and convince the emperor that they have an exclusive magic cloth. They pretend to be creating a one-of-a-kind piece for the emperor, but secretly are just pocketing the money. The emperor sends his most trusted advisors to check on the seamsters, but when they see nothing, they get frightened at the emperor's wrath and tell him that the outfit is beautiful and he will be absolutely stunning in it. The emperor eventually goes on to put on the outfit and parade it through town, where everyone oohs and ahs even though he's walking around in nothing but his underwear. Only a little boy who has not yet corrupted speaks the truth and says, "But he hasn't anything on." And the truth spreads from there. This is an example of Twain's quote because it shows how much easier it is to go along with madness than fight it. If we pretend to understand, then it will seem that we do. Once again, to remind, Mark Twain said that when we remember we are all mad, the mysteries disappear and life stands explained. The Emperor's New Clothes are explained by the town madness because everyone just wants to appease everyone else and no one wants to stand out and incur the Emperor's wrath. Lastly, I'd like to point out an example from my high school. I went to the Orange County High School of the Arts. It wasn't a typical high school. People didn't focus on sports and cheerleading and things like that. Everyone was in a conservatory where they participated in creative writing or theater or drama. Madness was nurtured and flourished in the school, in the hall itself. If it wasn't for this love of creativity, so many great things that happen in Orange County wouldn't be there. A lot of the exhibits at the main Orange County Museum come from the Orange County High School of the Arts. The directors come from its own school, and there's many people on Broadway and playing at the Pantages in Los Angeles that are also from the Orange County High School of the Arts. If the madness there wasn't fostered, these people wouldn't be there to show us the beauty of art. And so, in conclusion, Mark Twain's quote stating, "When we remember that we are all mad, the mysteries disappear and life stands explained," is obvious through the work of Vincent van Gogh, because without his madness and his personal take on life, his beauty would not have been available to the rest of us. It is also evident in the Emperor's New Clothes, because without the madness of the combined populace, the Emperor would not have been who he was, and the town wouldn't have fallen for what it did. And through my own high school experience at the Orange County High School of the Arts, because without the nurturing of creativity, or how some people might see it as madness, there wouldn't be a lot of fantastic artists that are currently in Southern California. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Stay up there for your critique. What'd you like?
I really liked when you moved away from your note card and you were just talking. I thought those parts were actually better. Like, you knew them better than when you were using like the note card, and like I really liked how you made it personalized.
Improvement.
Like she said, I would have shied away from the note card. Maybe had a little like flux in your voice just to switch it up a bit. But besides that, I liked it. You talked really clearly and stuff. And the points are clear.
Yeah, Anna. Had you been around the class longer, I guess you noticed or saw that most of the students didn't use a note card.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I'm sorry.
And it's just something I've gone to. It's just more effective. But when you watch yourself tonight, you're going to see that your reading is deadly. It's almost. I'll just be frank about it. It was kind of boring, really, and it's deadly to just start out reading with your head down, you know. And you want to start with a grabber. You want to draw people in, make them want to listen, have something really provocative in the beginning, something unexpected, something weird, something bizarre, crazy. You went through the thesis and the preview, and that was all good, and you told us where you were going, and that was fine. I was intrigued, and I like the way you reintroduced the quote each time. I was intrigued the way you changed the meaning of madness a little bit each time as you went through the quote. Madness, in the case of Van Gogh, had a kind of a unique, especially with his, madness.
His is very literal.
Literally a madness, and that, I don't think Twain was talking about that when he was talking about everyone's a little bit mad, and then we can understand that. But that was okay. That was okay. It was showing that you were really thinking about the quote. The little boy saying the Emperor's naked, mad, became honesty there in your definition. And then finally, on your Orange County, madness became creativity. And so it was an interesting how the definition shifted a little bit, but you got the job done. So which is what you were after. And again, we wanted to have a summary, a conclusion, and a tie back to a great introduction, so we come the full circle. Okay. And that's what I was looking for. But you got the job done. Thank you.
Thank you. And I really appreciate giving me the chance.
Yeah, my pleasure. Now, what do I need to do now?
File my grade with someone. I'm not sure who. Do you want me to find out who?
Yeah.
Okay, I will.
And you send me an email with your blah, 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 your blah, 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 and your blah, blah, blah. What quarter it was, your student ID number, your full legal name.
Okay.
And all that.
And where to actually
Oh, no.
No.
no, it's okay.
Sorry.
Oh boy, did
I
that
think
spill?
I'll go get
No,
napkins.
I'll
Okay?
go get. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I'll
okay.
email Judy tonight then. She'll probably respond
Yeah.
tomorrow. And then I'll send it over.